So John, we're finally here, we made it. We came over this morning to see you just swim across the final traverse across the leeward passage, and you picked a perfect time because there wasn't much traffic at that time.
No, that's good. I'll try to time it with the tides, and the traffic, and but I knew obviously if I had my marker on my float as well, then people would see me. So people take it quite easily. So I wasn't too worried about traffic. It was just really the tides. Luckily I caught the tide just in time, it wasn't too much of a bad swim. Drifted a little bit towards the end, but pretty much hit the leeward beach where I wanted to be. On the first day, I just literally got off the plane and I was almost straight in the water. So that was almost like I was in water mode straight away. And I pretty much stayed in water mode because between South Caicos and East Caicos, those couple of little keys, McCartney and Plandon and Middle Creek Key, they're so short a hop, it didn't make sense to change into dry kit. So I basically stayed in wet kit until East Caicos. Then I knew I had 2 days of walk ahead of me. So once I got to East Caicos, I then changed into kind of walking mode and walking mentality, strapped my feet up, treated my feet, got into dry kit, walking kit, and then got my kind of walking head on and set off a good 2-day solid walk. And again, when I hit Lorimer's, or West Caicos, sorry, not West Caicos, Wild Cow Run on Middle Caicos, again, I knew I had 2 solid days of walking, some 35 miles over 2 days. So again, I treated my feet, took some time, got all my dry kit on, make sure I was well kind of lubricated with cream and stuff on my ankles and feet and toes and stuff, and then set off with the big walk. And then when I was doing the short hops across the day, Dallas Key to Fort George Key, Fort George to Pine Key, again, it wasn't so much kind of getting into each other's mode because I was focused on the finish then. It didn't really matter if I was walking in Speedos or swimming in full kit. To me, it was all about the finish. Once I hit kind of Dallas Key last night, that was me, that was the final leg. So.
And on South Caicos, we were talking about you spent 2 years thinking about this project, 9 months mentally, and then 3 or 4 months actually preparing it. Do you go, I mean, having not been to these keys, how do you know what the terrain is going to be like on those keys? Are you using Google Earth or something like that?
Yeah, Google Earth was a great advantage, and the reason, and also a great help, and the reason that I first got this idea was back in 2006 in an old Times of the Island magazine. I found an article by a guy called Martin Pepper who tried to do the same thing, and he was a student at the Field Studies School on South Caicos, and he tried to do the same walk. Didn't quite make it and ended up getting some boat rides and stuff, but that's no issue because it's extremely hard, but that planted the little seed in my head. So I managed to kind of glean a few little tidbits from him. The most important thing I think I gleaned from his articles was the fact that on East Caicos you get a lot of debris washing up, and he found a lot of water bottles, and I was lucky, I did find about 6 or 7 bottles, in fact 2 with the seals still intact, so I knew they were fresh. Others were half drunk, but they still came in handy for cooking and drinking. So it's almost like the first few days I didn't touch my water because I knew that I could find water on East Caicos because of the stuff that I'd found on Martin's article. I was down to my last couple of bottles on North Caicos, and I just happened to sit by the side of the road and found half a bottle of Gatorade, which I then duly poured into my water bottle. Beggars can't be choosers. So, I'm happy to scavenge along the way because I knew I could. So that's kind of all part of the planning.
Welcome back, John.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Man, well, a long 5 days, but glad to be back. Lost for words now, it's all over.
Well done, John.
So what was the best bit then?
I think the best bit was the last 50 yards. I think all of it and all, it's been everything I expected it to be. Harder than I thought it would be, but so glad I've done it. I've seen so many things that only a few other people have seen. Just makes me want to go back and explore more now, but don't tell the wife. my big thing really is because of the kind of the history and stuff that I've gone through and passed through, and the heritage that I've passed through, South Caicos and Middle Caicos. My big thing when I've been out exploring is the National Trust. So the bulk of my money that I'm going to dedicate will go to the National Trust for the great work they do in promoting the heritage. And the importance of obviously camping and hiking is a good night's sleep. So there we go. That's 6'6", which is big enough for me. Fly screen, and I put a roll mat inside and a little cushion, and that's it. Good to go. And it all folds up. And this is the one thing, although I was concerned about weight, this is the one thing I wouldn't do without. I would like to mention two people especially. One is Steve Thompson from Project X and Callie from Melt. When I first sent the email out and said, I've got a crazy idea, I'm going to do some crazy scheme, they didn't know what it was, they didn't know what it involved. Without those two getting on board straight away to give me the motivation to do it, I don't think I could do it. So without Steve from Project X and Callie from Melt and Footprints on the Beach, I don't think this whole thing would have gone ahead. And obviously I have to thank Claire from Trade Winds Radio and Times of the Island to promote it all. And obviously everybody else also gave, $10, $20. It's all added up and it's all come to the big bonus. So
can people continue to give money now you've completed this?
Yeah, they can either contact me directly through my Facebook page, which is Beyond TCI. There's also a Facebook page that Claire set up, which is Operation Sculp, SCOLP. And if they go to the website, the fundraising website, Fundraiser, and type in Operation Sculp, again, they'll find them and they can just pay by PayPal, credit card. If they want to dedicate a charity, that's fine. If they want to leave it up to me, again, that's fine. If you see the things I've seen this week, you see where the beautiful One Nature comes from.